Hello, my name is Professor Kim Diane O'Connelly, and I am with the University at Buffalo Clinical Legal Education Program, and I direct the Environmental Advocacy Clinic here at the State University of New York's Law School. I'm very pleased to introduce a panel of amazing student attorneys and a program specialist. We're going to talk to you about the Ramsar Convention. So with no further ado, I'm going to share the screen and you are going to set off an adventure of learning about the Ramsar Convention.
Dear esteemed members of Berry Panchpota Working Group, once again, on behalf of the entire team from the Environmental Advocacy Clinic at the University at Buffalo School of Law, I would like to extend my warmest greetings to all of you. My name is Farida Razaki. I work as a program specialist for cultural and international issues for the Clinical Legal Education Program at University at Buffalo School of Law. Today, we have prepared a comprehensive presentation that we believe will greatly contribute to our collective progress. Firstly, we will provide an overview of the Environmental Advocacy Clinic, specifically our previous expertise with Ramsar. Next, we will delve into the Ramsar Convention. We will outline how the Ramsar Convention supports wetland. Moving forward, we will focus on the relevance of the Ramsar in the context of India. We will give a brief overview of the wetlands that are designated as Ramsar sites in India. Following that, we will elucidate the Ramsar designation process. We will talk about the criteria and guidelines that need to be met for the site to be recognized as a Ramsar site. We will discuss the procedures involved and the potential benefits that come with the Ramsar designation, like ecotourism. Now comes to the exciting part. We are pleased to present our findings of the Berry Panchpota region and its potentials for suitability of the Ramsar designation. We have researched the ecological characteristics of the area and will share our analysis of how it may align with the Ramsar criteria. Last but not least, we will outline the next steps in our collaboration and the opportunities for the Ramsar designation of the site. And now, without further delay, I would like to start by talking about our Environmental Advocacy Clinic. Environmental Advocacy Clinic is one of the 8 legal clinics under the Clinical Legal Education Program at the University at Buffalo School of Law. The Environmental Advocacy works for the state, national, and international environmental law and policy issues. Besides running many other projects, our clinic has remarkable experience in Ramsar-related matters. Professor Connelly, who is the director of the Environmental Advocacy Clinic, is worldwide known for her expertise in wetlands, particularly Ramsar Convention. Professor Connelly has served as the chair of the U.S. Ramsar Committee and North America representative at the World Wetland Network. Professor Connelly has attended many times at the conference of the contracting parties to the Ramsar Convention, both as the U.S. representative and as the wetland expert. Under the supervision of Professor Connelly, student attorneys at the Environmental Advocacy Clinic helped the designation of the Niagara River Corridor as a Ramsar site. Moreover, the clinic has launched a local program of youth engagement at the Niagara River Corridor site and developed training materials and engaging educational activities for the site. This is all I had to talk about the Environmental Advocacy Clinic. I hope it had given you a brief overview of our work. Now I would like to pass the floor to my colleague, Keith Hurley, who will guide us through the Ramsar Convention and its importance to wetlands. Keith, over to you.
Thank you, Farida. And I would like to extend my greetings and say hello. My name is Keith Hurley, and I'm a student attorney at the Environmental Advocacy Clinic. I would like to start today by going over what the Ramsar Convention actually is. So the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands of International Importance serves to designate wetlands that are important for waterfowl and other migratory birds. Their mission is through the conservation and wise use of all wetlands through local and national action and international cooperation as a contribution towards achieving sustainable development throughout the world. So a designation as a Ramsar site is considered an honorary endorsement of the ecological significance of the site. Currently, Ramsar has 172 contracting parties as of 2023. The total number of wetlands of international importance that have been designated is 2,493. And the total surface area of these designated sites is over 256 million hectares. I'd now like to turn it over to my colleague Stephanie, who is going to talk about how Ramsar supports wetlands. Stephanie?
Thank you, Keith. My name is Stephanie Burke, and I am a student attorney at the University of Buffalo. It is my privilege and honor to meet with your esteemed group today. Ramsar supports wetlands in a variety of ways. It requires wise use, encourages development of site management plans, raises visibility of the sites, requires monitoring, supports ecotourism, helps recreation and livelihood, and offers many other possibilities that we have not included. The Ramsar Convention entered into force in India on February 1st, 1982. India currently has 75 designated sites across the subcontinent. Ramsar designated surface area in India is 1,326,677 hectares.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. I'd now like to go over the general designation criteria for a Ramsar designation. First is whether the site to be designated is representative, rare, or unique. Second is whether the site supports vulnerable or endangered species or threatened ecological communities. Third, if the site to be designated supports keystone or endemic species. Fourth, if the site supports species at a critical stage in their life cycles, such as migration, breeding, or nesting. Fifth, if the site supports 20,000 or more waterbirds. Sixth, if the site supports 1% of the individuals in a population of one species or subspecies of waterbird. Seventh, if the site to be designated supports a significant proportion of indigenous fish species. Eighth, if the site is an important source of food, spawning ground, nursery, and/or migration path for fish. And finally, ninth, if the site supports 1% of the individuals in a population of one species or subspecies of wetland-dependent non-avian animal species. Now, in our research of the potential criteria that the Berry Panchpota region may meet, we found that the criteria that may meet are two, that the site supports vulnerable or endangered species or threatened ecological communities. Fifth, that the site may support 20,000 or more waterbirds. Sixth, that the site may support 1% of the individuals in a population of one species of waterbird. And seventh, that the site supports a significant proportion of indigenous fish species. So, criterion 2 is based on endangered species, and a couple of the vulnerable fish species to explore are the walago and the common carp. Criterion 5 and criterion 6 are Ramsar criteria based on waterbirds, and some potential species of waterbird that we may explore are the Indian pond heron, the Baya weaver, and the Asian openbill. Other species that we've found that will require more research to determine whether they could be part of a criterion are the fishing cat, the Ferungius flycatcher, and the Dacrypinax spatholuria, a type of fungus. And now I'd like to turn it back over to Stephanie, who's going to discuss ecotourism and Ramsar. Stephanie?
Thank you, Keith. Ecotourism in Ramsar. Ramsar designations have helped attract tourism. Sites that have been managed properly with sustainability in mind have proven themselves to be a major tourist destination in the places that have adopted them. Well-managed sites like the Suma National Park in Estonia and the Niagara River Corridor attract thousands of domestic and international tourists every year. On to our current and future work. The next steps for your organization are to compile results and surveys on the species in the region where you live that may satisfy the Ramsar requirement. We would need the information regarding the scientists, researchers, and other organizations that you're working with towards this goal of a Ramsar designation. And even though there's been a slowdown in Ramsar designations in India, opportunities remain. After getting the necessary information, the next steps include reaching out to NGOs and other governmental agencies, including subcommittees tied to the Ministry of Environment, Forestry, Climate Change, to make these sites more visible. These also include Animal Welfare Board of India and the Botanical Survey of India. Any questions?
So honored members, when we met with you, this is a recording that we were doing afterwards as promised. And when we met with you, we did discuss questions and next steps. And we urge you to go back and remember those questions and next steps, but also to send us some questions if you have them by email. And in case there are people watching who were not part of the original conversation, or even maybe outside of the working group, here's the way to find the Environmental Advocacy Clinic. You can search for the Environmental Advocacy Clinic at the University of Buffalo School of Law, State University of New York, and find our contact information on our website. It has been a great honor speaking with you, and thank you very much.